Hello and welcome. So today we're going to dig into a question that is really at the absolute core of every single business. How does a price tag get its number? It seems pretty simple on the surface, but behind every price, there's this fascinating story of costs, competition, and what we, the customers, actually think something is worth. I mean, you've been there, right? You're looking at two t-shirts, they look and feel almost the same, but one's $5 and the other is 50. What gives? What is actually going on there? Is it really the cotton? Is it where it was made? Is it just the brand name, or is it something else? Let's unpack that. So, to really get to the bottom of price, we have to start where every single product starts, inside the factory. Long before a company can even think about profit, it has to understand every single penny of cost, and that is the world of cost accounting. Now, cost accounting, it sounds a little dry, I know, but it's not just adding up a pile of receipts. It's a whole system. The Institute of Management Accountants puts it this way. It's a process for recording and reporting the costs of making things. Basically, it's the rulebook that helps managers make smarter choices and keep the whole operation running smoothly. Okay, so what actually goes into that final cost number? Well, it's not as complex as you might think. It really just boils down to three main ingredients: the fundamental building blocks for making, well, just about anything. First up, you have direct materials. That's the actual stuff the product's made from. The wood for table, the flour for bread. Super straightforward. Next, you've got direct labor. That's the paycheck for the person who's actually sanding that table or kneading that dough. And finally, there's overheads. You can think of this as the catch-all for everything else it takes to keep the factory lights on. We're talking rent, electricity, the factory manager's salary, you name it. So you take those three things, materials, labor, and overhead, you add them all up, and you get this little piece of magic: the cost of goods manufactured, or COGM for short. This is ground zero. It's the total all-in cost to get that product finished and ready to go. This is our starting line. All right, so the company has its number. They know exactly what it costs to make. Now what? Well, now comes the big question. What are we going to sell it for? And this is where we leave the world of accounting and step into the art of the markup. Now, here's something that's really important to get. Not everybody thinks about markup in the same way. You've got the maker, the manufacturer, who usually thinks in markup on cost. They start from the bottom up. They say, okay, this cost me $10 to make, I'm going to add 50%. But then you have the retailer, the seller, who thinks in markup on sell price. They're looking from the top down. They're looking at that final price on the shelf and asking, how much of this is my profit? Let's put some numbers on this so it makes sense. Let's say a company's total cost, their COGM, for a baseball glove is $12.75. They decide they want a 72% markup. So the math's pretty simple. You take the cost, $12.75, and multiply it by 1.72. Boom. The price they sell it to stores for is $21.93. See? Simple, clean, and based completely on what's happening inside their own walls. But wait a second, that whole calculation we just did, it's all about the company, right? It's all inward looking. What about the customer? This brings us to a massive shift in how modern businesses think. It's about moving away from just focusing on cost and instead asking a totally different question. What is this thing actually worth to you? Value-based pricing completely flips the script. It's a game changer. Instead of starting with your spreadsheets in the factory, you start inside the customer's head. You figure out what problem you're solving for them, what amazing result you're delivering, and you base your price on that perceived value. It's not about your effort, it's about their outcome. So why would you do this? Well, the benefits are huge. For one, you can make a lot more profit because you're pricing based on the real value you create. You also start attracting better clients, people who want the best results, not just the cheapest option. And honestly, it makes you build better relationships because you have to understand your customers to figure out what you're really worth to them. Okay, so we've got cost-based pricing on one side and value-based pricing on the other. But how does all this fit into the bigger picture of running a great business? Well, it turns out that profit isn't just a formula. It's the final domino to fall in a really powerful chain reaction. This right here is the service profit chain. It's a concept that came out of research at Harvard. And the core idea is, well, it's kind of revolutionary. It says profit isn't where you start. It's the end result. And the whole chain reaction kicks off with your own employees. It all starts with how you treat your people.
Now, the really crucial thing to get here is that this isn't just some fluffy, feel-good idea. It is a series of concrete cause and effect links. One thing literally leads to the next. Let's trace it out.
Okay, look at how this flows. You start with high internal quality. That means good training, the right tools, a great work environment. That leads to satisfied employees. And satisfied employees, they stick around and they're more productive. That loyalty and productivity create amazing value for your customers. And that great value, it leads to satisfied customers. And satisfied customers become loyal customers. And what does that customer loyalty finally lead to? Profitability and growth. It's this beautiful, logical, unbreakable chain. Okay, so this all sounds great, but what about the numbers? Well, the researchers didn't just map this out, they quantified it, and the result is, frankly, staggering. So what does this number, 25 to 85%, actually represent? And here it is. This is the punchline to the whole story. According to the research from the Harvard Business Review, a tiny 5% increase in customer loyalty, just getting a few more people to stick with you, can boost your bottom line profits by an incredible 25 to 85%. Let that sink in. That one stat proves why this whole chain, starting with your own team, is one of the most powerful forces in business. And that brings us all the way back to the beginning, back to that simple t-shirt. In the end, every single decision a business makes really boils down to this one question. Is your strategy built to obsessively minimize your costs? Or is it built to courageously maximize the value you create? The answer to that doesn't just set your price, it defines who you are as a company.